Welcome to Sewing Out Loud, the official podcast of Zede Sewing Studio. Here are your hosts, Zede and Mallory.
Sewing Out Loud. Hi, this is Mallory Donahue.
And this is Zede Donahue.
And today I'm gonna rake Mom over the coals about what you should look for in a sewing machine when you buy one today. It's 2016.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So
not what we look for in like 1953 when the sewing machine was actually considered
a household appliance. Yeah. So
it is no more. That's not where we're coming from these days anymore.
Nope. You're looking for a sewing machine right now. You're probably wanting to make things for fun, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's,
So do you realize that's why vacuum cleaners and sewing machines were sold together?
No.
And that's why you see those suck and sew stores?
Mom really wanted to get vacuums in the store so she could call it Zede's Suck and Sew.
But yeah, because everyone had a sewing machine and everyone had a vacuum cleaner. It was the advent of everyone could finally afford a vacuum cleaner, and carpeting was being put into the homes.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, the distributors were, handling both of those products.
Yeah, that's a really foreign concept, I think, sometimes to people my age. Like, now they're like, why are the vacuums and the sewing machines together? Like, they just do not get it.
Right.
So, obviously,
because we think of a sewing
homemaking
machine
is dead.
Right.
No.
That's right. Because who vacuums?
Right.
But, well, yeah, I think, that's the other thing. The carpeting's sort of out of vogue, too. Everybody's decided it's not the thing they want anymore.
You just glue paper bags down to your floor and polyurethane it.
That's right.
What we do now, right? Yeah. According to Pinterest.
Is that what? Yeah, there you go.
If you have that in your house, good for you. I hope it's not in your bathroom.
Well, or you can take pallets apart. You can do that, too.
And you can just build a whole house.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So, when you're looking for a sewing machine, what's your first piece of advice,
Okay,
Mom?
my first piece of advice is that you should go to a dealership. Do not go to a big
Amen.
box store.
Preach it, sister.
And I'm preaching this. And the reason is you will learn, first of all, how to use that sewing machine. Now, somebody's out there going, well, I've been sewing for years. Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
And I've been driving for years, and I still can't get my iPhone to hook up to my car. And sometimes it does and scares the holy bejesus out of me. But
I think that what you're trying to say is sewing machines have changed a lot.
Right.
Haven't they?
And honestly, a sewing machine dealer will give you a lot more instruction about your sewing machine than any car dealership will give you about your car.
Or a phone store.
Right, or a phone store. I mean, they are there to serve you. They want to sell you the product, and they want you to be happy with it, and they want to show you how to use it, and the best way to use it, and the best way to maintain it. And don't think you're going to pay more because you go to a dealership.
Yeah, it's not always true.
It's not always true. I don't think it's true really at all because you get what you pay for, sort of.
Well, okay, dollars to dollars here.
Right.
I was at a big box store the other day, and I bought, as a sewing machine dealer, I always had this sort of insecurity in the back of my mind, like, okay, well, I know maybe our machines are a little pricier, but we give all of this support. Like, I totally think
service.
totally think it's worth it. We give like over 8 hours of instruction on our sewing machines,
Right.
and so I totally think it's worth it.
Well,
but then,
and we're available.
But then,
right.
wait. But then I was at this big box store and I looked over at this machine and I thought, oh my God, they're charging, it was like $300 more or something than we're charging for such and such,
or similar
machine.
comparable machine.
And I thought,
right.
and they're not going to get the support.
No.
They're not going to be able to email somebody. I mean, this is what you can do at our store, is email me.
Well, the person who sells
answer.
it to you, if anyone sells it to you,
Yeah.
The person who sells it to you might not even be there next week.
Well, right.
Okay. And do they offer what we call, guide classes or, whatever someone...
No, so really do yourself a favor and do your research.
Right.
And, if, I think what Mom's saying about the dealer, and we won't get into this too much because it'll probably sound like we're on a big old soapbox, is you really should be getting support from that dealer.
You make a relationship with your dealer.
And they're supposed to be supporting you, and it really is worth a lot. So if you're looking at $100 difference, I mean, think about.
And sometimes there isn't, like
No,
you
and
said, there isn't even that
no,
difference.
but if you're looking at that,
Right.
and you think about supporting a small
right.
business in your community.
Well, I was going to say, that's the other thing. You really want to try and stay in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
If you can drive 150 miles and save $50, first of all, it depends on how much gas costs.
Mhm.
But stay in your neighborhood, support your local business, develop a relationship with them. They're going to help you sew better.
Yeah, and you want them to be
And
there.
guess what? They're going to sell you a good machine because they don't want you to come in complaining.
Absolutely.
It's the difference between a business trying to have a relationship with you or just trying to sell something
Okay,
to
and
you.
we're gonna get off the dealer soapbox here in just a
Right.
second. I just want to add one more thing. I went and bought a washer and dryer. Mentioned this in another podcast. Went and bought a washer and dryer at a big store. And,
Box store, basically, yeah,
and
department store.
I thought, I can't ask anyone how this washes clothes.
That's right.
These people have never used this machine, and I don't think
Right.
that's wrong or bad, and there's a warranty, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna wash clothes in it right
Right.
away and da 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 and everything. And I thought, I sew on these machines
Every day.
day.
And you troubleshoot on those machines.
I do.
And
I
you
help people with
troubleshoot
them
on the
every
machine when
day.
they come in and they somebody says, oh, this isn't working right, or this happened to me when I did
Yep.
this, or I was sewing and my needle broke and now
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to be working right. And why did my needle break? We know the answers to those things.
Right. And your dealer
Right.
should too. Here's the other thing. If you got a couple dealers, I mean, we sell baby lock machines in the store. I love the brand. A lot of times, you need to choose based on your dealer on who's going to be giving you the support.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to
Right.
choose the person who
You got to
You really
you
connect
need to
with.
choose the place you feel the most comfortable with.
absolutely. So
we sell a high quality product. There are other high quality products out there.
absolutely.
If I lived in a town where there was one dealership and I knew it was a quality product and I could have a relationship with that dealer, I might not care about the brand.
Right.
Oh,
So when you go look at a new sewing machine, let's talk like across brands. If you want a sewing machine that you're going to be able to sew on for years and sew many different types of things, on this machine, you're
types of fabric.
you're not a sewer who just makes a Halloween costume once a year.
Right.
You're a sewer who wants to.
Or you're just not piecing cotton, quilting type cotton. but
Right,
You're
right.
going to be on
You want
garments
to hem
and home
jeans.
jack.
You
and-
want to,
right.
you want to be able to mend. Da 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 da. I'd say you need to plan on spending at least $600 on a sewing
I would
machine.
think so. Hmm.
You
And there's certain things you like. I would want a knee lift.
I would want a knee lift.
In that price range, you're going to get a machine that probably has a needle threader.
Yep. Oh man.
You used to have to pay about $5,000 to get
No,
a needle threader.
You're
You
gonna
don't
get a needle
anymore.
threader for $500 or $600.
You don't anymore, right? I would also think that hopefully you're going to get a machine that has good lighting.
Yes.
That's very important.
Now, in that price range, you start to get into where you have a speed control on your
Right.
machine. I love the speed control, especially if you're going to start teaching your little person in
Right.
the house how to sew, but also maybe for you. Maybe
Right.
you're not used to a machine with an amount of power because
Well,
that's the other thing.
That's right.
You're going to get some power.
Well,
when
the
you
other
get-
thing about that governor or speed control
Uh-huh.
is if you're doing decorative stitches, sometimes it's nice to slow that machine
Yep.
down because you're trying to rip through you've got the pedal to the metal and you're really sewing too fast in order for the machine to make that design properly.
Yeah, so at our store, we've got an entry level, group of machines, and they start out around $199, go up to like $499.
Right.
And when people are looking at those machines, I say, okay, what these machines are for is for the occasional sewer, the beginner who's trying to see if this is for
Right.
them. It's a little, try me out or make a
Okay.
Halloween costume once a year.
And right there you said something. You said for the beginner sewer, and this is of utmost importance. If you go to that big box store where no one knows what that machine does or how it works or whatever, and I don't know if you're buying this for your child, your teenager, whatever, or just somebody that wants to get into sewing or back into sewing, if you buy not a great machine and then you have no help
And you have
and
not-
no backup, you will not be
Yeah,
successful.
you'll be kind of destined to fail there.
You'll be destined to fail, and you'll never want to see that again.
Yeah.
And the worst thing I think anybody can buy for a child, and I don't mean to offend anyone and just act like you didn't do this, is to buy them a toy sewing machine, because it will turn them off.
Yeah.
And usually somebody who wants a toy sewing machine is a younger kid, and they're all excited, and then they get this thing that maybe kind of works. My husband will say, well, that works almost all the time. If it doesn't work all the time, it doesn't work.
Right. So you
okay?
want that support. So
Right.
when you're in those entry levels, when you're below the $600, $500, range, that's not a machine that, you're going to be sewing for 8 hours a day on.
Right.
Do most of us sew 8 hours a day? No. But when you get up there past that $500 or $600 mark, you're going to get a machine, and what it'll do is hum right along over that thick seam in your jeans.
Because it has a direct current motor.
Yeah, it'll
It's
have
called
that
a DC
stronger-
motor versus an AC motor, which is
Right.
an alternating current. So a direct current, I can only sew on a direct current motor. An alternating current drives me out of my mind. I just
Right,
can't.
and you'll hear the difference, and you'll
Once
just,
you know the difference, you can't do it.
yeah, you'll
Right.
hear it, you'll feel it. I'm not saying that those smaller machines are like bad things
No,
or anything,
no.
but if you're thinking, okay, I've got $400 to spend, but I really want to get a machine that'll last me almost the rest of my life, maybe think about bumping it up.
Well,
And that's another piece of advice we give.
okay, I hate to jump around, but you
No, go
didn't
ahead.
let me finish my
Sorry.
thought about buying a beginning machine or a starter machine or a child's machine or whatever, and people go, "Oh, well, I didn't want to spend $200 or $300." Okay, tell me what you pay for those video games.
Yep.
Tell me what you pay for that stuff.
Yep.
And I will tell you what sewing is like to me. Sewing is very similar to like learning a musical instrument. It takes patience, it takes time, and it takes discipline. And if you can have, especially with a child, if that's something you can teach them and show them that a skill, is learned by adding on, time spent, practice, and all that, you have taught them something other than just sewing. And that sewing skill will last them the rest of their life.
No, you're totally right. I mean, a video game, $60, $80 a pop.
Yeah, I
Two
know.
of those.
Right.
Sewing
right.
machine.
Well, and what about the things you put on? I don't know all those things. The Xbox things and all that stuff that you
Well,
guys
that's
know.
What
yeah.
I'm talking. Yeah, stuff like that.
Right. I mean, a lot of kids have phones before they have a sewing machine, and I
Right.
know that phone costs more.
Right.
And guess what? They're going to want a new phone in 2 or 3 years,
Yep.
and the sewing machine will probably last them longer than that before they want. Or you can trade it in.
So the
and
piece of
make a lot.
advice I was trying to segue into really correlates with that is get the most machine that you can afford. The most machine you feel
Yes.
comfortable buying.
Yes, absolutely, because you don't want to fall in love with it and then go, oh, I wish I would have had more.
And that's what happens a lot. And you see if you get what you can afford, you're happy. And
Right.
you see those machines with maybe more features and stuff and you're like, okay, but this is what I could get and I'm making this and this and this with it, But if you do go in and let's just say you got $600 in your pocket and
Right.
you're like, oh, well, no, I can get a $200 machine.
Right.
You're just going to see the big differences in between there. And I mean, we're not telling you how to spend your money. But get what you're
and
comfortable.
what a dealership should do, if
Uh-huh.
it's a really good dealership, is they should try. The first thing they should say to you is something like, "Do you sew now? And what do you sew?"
Yeah.
They
What do
should
you like to sew?
They should interview you.
Mhm.
They should interview you on how you're going to use a machine and what you expect from a machine, and they should know their inventory and know where to guide you. And there's all schools of thoughts when sewing manufacturers tell you, "Oh, don't ask somebody how much they want to spend." I do. I say, "Do you have a price range that you're considering?"
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to show you a $5,000 machine and you get blown away,
Well, especially
and then be disappointed that you can't have it.
in our business, there's machines at $199 and
Right.
machines at $15,000.
That's right.
I mean, I feel like I need a little guidance, when
Right.
I'm talking to a person about a machine. And if they say I've got, $400, I'll show them the machines and I'll say, and this is what you would get for $100, $200 more it's just your options for you to know about, you
right.
know, and if that's really important to you. I mean, it's when I make a purchase, you know, I try
So-
to go in with a
right.
budget, but
So-
I also know I don't want to take something home that I don't like, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
I'd rather not buy anything at all, you know, versus going
That's
home with
how I
something
am,
that would,
yeah.
you know, piss me off the rest of my life. You
That's
know?
right. No, absolutely. Disappointment is a hard thing to live with, no matter how much it costs.
Well, and that's why, personally, and from a dealer standpoint, I want to find the person the best machine because I don't want
Buyer's
any
remorse.
buyer's remorse. No
We
buyer's
don't like
remorse.
buyer's remorse.
No, we want people to be happy with the machine they've got, and
happy with us.
yeah, and happy with
Well,
us, and
And again, going back to a dealership, that person will be able to guide you and tell you what kind of needle you need for this kind of fabric, what kind
Right.
of thread. And we talk a lot and teach a lot about threads and needles, that type of thing that make a difference in your project and the quality of the project you wind up with.
absolutely,
And that's your time.
yeah.
So you don't want to waste your time. I mean, if I could buy time, I would be buying it.
So I would say another way that sewing machines are sold nowadays, when you go up in the line, you get an increase in power and also an increase in the amount of stitches
Amount of
generally.
stitches.
So sometimes people come and they say, oh, I don't want all those stitches, but I want a machine that will sew over 8 layers of denim. Don't be alarmed if the machine that sews over 8 layers of denim also has a bunch of decorative
Right,
stitches
has
on it.
89 stitches
In
or
fact,
something.
Sewing Steve,
Right.
he was buying a machine. We were trying to figure out if he wanted embroidery or not. And you
Right.
know what he said to me? He said, I don't know if a machine that does embroidery will sew over leather.
Oh, yeah. So,
So
he doesn't realize.
Yeah,
Right.
so he didn't realize the truth of what's
Right.
going on here is a lot of the time, and, you know, is when you have a machine that's more advanced like that
Yeah.
has that embroidery capability, it will also be a machine that has that strong motor.
It
And
does.
that's,
It is a stronger
know,
motor and
I'd
a stronger machine.
I'd
Yes.
say we can almost say that for sure in the baby lock line. You know, that's the one I'm most familiar with.
I can't believe that there's any embroidery machine that it does not have a DC motor. I
Unless-
would be real surprised.
No. I can think of some little crappy embroidery only
Oh.
machines. That's
Oh,
I want to bring that
okay,
up. I want to bring
sure.
that up. So I don't want
Okay.
people to say everything that embroiders is an awesome
Yeah.
machine or something. But when you go up, when you start to get into the 1,000,
Right.
2,000, up there.
Well, your presser foot also usually goes up higher. You have a
Right.
better clearance. Your
Yep.
throat, your
throat gets
the
bigger.
throat gets bigger. There's all these things to consider, and that sewing machine dealer should be able to talk to you about that and point that out to you.
Yep.
And we've had people come in and go, "Oh, I want this machine because my friend has it. And I love it, and I love it, and I love it." And we start talking to them, and we show them that machine, and then all of a sudden they're saying, "Well, I want to make draperies too," and I'm like, I'm not. Let's talk about this other machine over
Right.
here too, because you don't have throat clearance on here that
Mhm.
you might wind up wanting if you're going to be, a drapery maker.
Yeah, so if you do come in and you say, if somebody comes into the store and says, well, I really don't want to do a bunch of fancy stuff, I just want a straight stitch.
Right.
Well, the machines that we have that do the fewest amount of stitches, they don't have the strongest motor. So if you want to say,
Right.
I only want a straight stitch, but I want to sew over jeans, I've got some things to reconcile there. And
Right.
I explain
Right.
those.
And the other thing is there is no longer a machine. Basically, if you come in and say you want an entry level machine, it's not going to have one stitch.
Right.
It's going to probably have maybe 9, 10, 12 stitches.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to have stitches for stretch fabric and stitches for woven fabric.
Right.
That's there. And you will. The other thing that goes up is your needle placement.
Yeah.
The ability to shift right or left when you go up in machines, and that's important too.
No, and I think that, Baby Lock sells a straight stitch only machine, and I've been using it, and
But
I really
that's a
like
high-end
it.
machine.
Yeah, but it's higher end,
Right.
and so people are like, wait, why is it higher
Well,
end? Because
that is sort of a quasi commercial
yes,
machine.
yes,
It has a very strong motor, and it's a straight stitcher,
Yeah.
and it sews very fast.
and it's the Baby Lock Jane. I've really been enjoying it, but it isn't a cheap
And
machine because it just does a straight stitch.
and it has a rotary bobbin. There's
It's
a
got-
lot of things that make it.
It has a adjust it's
Right.
got 4 feed dog heights. It has the ability to pin feed there. So just so you know, the dealer should be able to explain why these
Right.
features.
And that would be somewhat, I would sell that to somebody who wants to make drapes if that's
Yeah.
all they want to make.
But a
Right.
sewing machine dealer should be able to explain why these features line up with
Right.
these prices.
Right.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
and the other thing is when we're kind of talking about dealerships a lot here, and
Because that's
that's
what you
okay.
need.
Yeah, and that's okay. But one thing I've seen blog posts on the internet how to buy a sewing machine. And here, let me finish, Mom, before you
Before I go out of my mind.
Yep, okay.
Yes.
I've heard of these things. Go to a garage sale, find an quote all metal machine. The old machines work better.
My eyeballs are
Yeah, just
bouncing
calm
on my
down, Mom.
cheeks.
Calm down. Calm
My
down.
eyeballs are bouncing
Okay.
out of my head. I can't stand
No,
it.
I'm just going to preface, Mom, and people are like,
Right.
you may have gone and bought your machine at a garage sale, and that is fine.
And it might work.
And it might work. But just because it's from a garage sale and the outside is metal does not mean it is going to work. Like, this is not a 100% guaranteed thing.
It doesn't mean the gears are metal either.
Oh, that ticks me off so much,
It's
man.
probably got, it could easily
Oh.
have a composite or
Yeah.
nylon gear that has disintegrated.
FYI, okay,
Yes.
we've got a repair department. People bring in these things. They're like, "Oh, it's so heavy, must mean it's a good machine," And I'm
Well,
like,
it can be a boat anchor if it
yeah,
doesn't work out.
and it can be a good machine.
It can-
But yeah, the gears in there aren't metal. Do you think your sewing machine belt is metal? I mean, this is a big misconception.
Well, I will tell you about that misconception too. I talked to sewing machine engineers,
yeah,
I'm talking about the people that actually design sewing
Sure.
machines. We talk to them once a year when we go to our convention. And I talk to these guys and I was told about 5 or 6 years ago, I said, I still have these people that come in about the metal sewing machine. And they said the best thing that ever happened was that you could have a plastic casing on your sewing machine because
Yep.
as engineers, then we could make the inside, we can configure it any way we wanted, and we could mold the outside to be perfect
for the inside.
for our engineering.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, what a
Duh.
simple question or
I mean,
simple
and-
answer.
Yeah.
And, I have both.
Right. And I'm not saying all bad, all good, but I feel like there are people out there
Right.
saying, oh, well, if your machine's plastic, it's not gonna such and such. If it's
No.
plastic on the outside, it's just BS. So when you buy that machine at the garage sale, just be aware.
Metal rust also.
And metal rust, yeah. Just be aware that it's probably not all metal. There might not be parts available for it anymore.
That's a big thing. There might not
And
be
the
parts available.
adjustments that you make on that machine, if you go get it serviced, they might not hold very well
That's right.
on that old machine.
Right.
It's quite possible.
Right.
But if you find something at a garage sale and you're using it and using it and using it and it's working great for you, fantabulous.
Right.
But the other thing about getting a new machine,
But like you said, you see those articles or those blogs
Right.
or whatever,
yeah,
and I'd say beware.
yeah,
Beware.
when you-
Who wrote that blog?
right. When
I want to
you-
talk to him.
When you get a new machine, it should have a warranty. That dealer and that company should stand behind it.
That's
They
right.
should be able to help you.
Or if you're buying a used machine
Yep.
off of an individual,
Mhm.
say,
Yeah,
you may say to them, "Can I take this to my repairman and have him check it out?"
right.
Especially if you're paying. I mean, if you're paying $5 at a garage sale, go ahead, pay the $5.
Right. No, you
See
should
what
just-
happens.
You should just be
like I
putting
said,
another. Yeah.
But good luck. Then it costs you more. If you have to throw it away, it costs you more to throw it away and get rid of it than it did to buy
No,
it.
well,
That's
when
why
you-
they're selling it.
When you buy that $5 machine at a garage sale, you need to just be automatically thinking, my taking this to a repair shop or my time in cleaning it up or whatever is just part of the cost of the machine.
Right. And then it's
You
going to
know.
cost. But what I'm saying is, you might buy a $5 machine and really go nowhere with it.
Right. It's quite possible. But
But if you get it for $5, hey.
Yeah.
Now, if you're buying a machine, say someone actually, is selling their more modern machine,
Uh-huh.
and they're wanting to upgrade, and they've decided to, sell it on their own to see, for whatever reason they decide, that you definitely should have them sit down with you and say, I expect you to show me how to use this machine if I'm going to buy it. Is that going to happen?
Right.
And, if they won't, and if they don't, I'm not sure it's worth it unless you have that exact machine already at home that you know how to use.
Right. Or if you are, if you do get a machine off an individual like that, just expect to maybe pay for some classes somewhere.
Right. Right.
Because classes are often included in the
right.
in
And we
the
also
machine
like
purchase.
at our shop we offer a class that says know your sewing machine, and everybody brings they bring in grandma's machine or some machine
Any
somebody gave them.
machine. Yeah.
And a lot of times we can tell them it's not worth it.
Right.
And we'll let them sew on one of our machines and say, in that class and say, this might be what you want to do.
Right. Right. So I think it's important when you're looking for a machine to basically have good information.
Right. Well, it's like buying a used car. It's hard.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying anybody's trying to, screw you or whatever, but, if you get that machine home and it doesn't work, it just doesn't work.
That's
like
right.
Mallory said, there's no guarantee, there's no warranty. On most of our high-end machines, we actually have an inclusive warranty where it's called a gold standard, where your repairs basically are included in the cost of the machine for X amount of years, depending on what level that machine is at.
Right. And, some shops, they sell their own warranties. They sell their own extended warranties or something like that. You can look into that and weigh the value,
Now,
for
the other thing you need to consider is if the warranty is from the shop, it will only be that shop. If the warranty is from the manufacturer, that means, for instance, if you buy a Baby Lock or you buy a Bernina or you buy a Husqvarna or whatever, and it is the manufacturer's warranty or guarantee or service pack or whatever, you can go to any authorized dealer.
Right.
And you will not have to pay that. That service will be included.
And if you
if it's the stores, it's the stores.
And if you go to, a big box store and you've tried to thread your machine and you forgot to thread with your presser foot up and it's balling up underneath and da-da-da-da-da, no one ever told you to do that, da-da-da-da-da, they're just going to take it back.
Right.
You're not going to be sewing that night.
Or ever again, because you're so you're just so ticked off at the whole process.
Whereas, if you've got that support, at our dealership, we do a lesson before you leave with the machine.
We call our delivery a sit down delivery, and we sit down and we thread the machine with you, and we talk about the machine. And if you say, "Well, I was going to make buttonholes tonight," we'll do a buttonhole with you.
We get you familiar with it,
and then we have a series of classes that you take after that for life.
Right, and that's the promise of a dealership, and that's the that's the value, because you can go get your money back within 30 days from a big box store or something, but you won't be if you just wanted your money back, okay. But if you wanted to be sewing, you won't be.
And I've bought a lot of computers, and I bought a lot of cars, and I'm trying to think what else I bought besides sewing machines. And no one has given me the service that a sewing machine dealership has given me.
Absolutely.
No one shows me how to use that computer. They talk a lot. They talk about how it's going to work and all this and how happy I'm going to be. And I have to sit down and be frustrated for a couple weeks before I really feel comfortable usually with them.
Yeah, no, and that's the other thing about the the pricing and everything, and I don't think people realize it. It's just the amount of support that we give, and that dealers give. So
that's our suggestions.
Let us know what you think. What's your experience been buying at a garage sale, buying from a dealer? We want to know. We want to know what's going on.
What did you have a dealer experience that was unhappy, and why was it unhappy?
Yeah, that's a good
because
thing to bring up.
Not all dealers are great.
Yeah.
Some of us are, but not all of us.
Okay, well, thank you for listening.
So long.
Thanks for listening to Sewing Out Loud. For even more expert sewing advice, visit sewhere.com.